Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. This week, we are going to be talking about funnels. Funnels are one of the best tools that you can use to create conversions. Now, there's different types of conversions. We're going to go through those things. But if you're somebody who's ever posted something online, created content, and got no response, you didn't sell anything, you didn't generate any clients, this episode is going to be great for you because we're going to dive into how to use this tool. Because that's what a funnel is. It is a tool that helps you turn strangers into clients in a consistent, dependable, and reliable way. So not every funnel is the same. You have different types. We have transactional, we have lead generation, we have relational funnels, and we're going to go through all of those in today's episode because each one has different goals, different metrics that you're going to track, and different elements that you are going to want to include. But we're going to break these down into categories so that it's simple, and then you can apply these principles not only to building out funnels on like websites and things, but also how to approach it for content when it comes to creating social content or long form content on places like YouTube and things like that. So the way that I like to think about funnels is that they are specifically a methodical process to get somebody from being a stranger into a client. So you're basically taking somebody across a customer journey here. We're moving people from awareness to then interest to then decision and then hopefully action. And that leads me to the first piece that we really need to dial in when it comes to any type of marketing that you're creating or doing. You need to know what the goal is. What is it that we're actually trying to achieve? Because if you don't know where you're going, it really doesn't matter which way you go. And that is probably why when you post something, you're like, I'm going to create a reel on Instagram. And even if it does really well, if you don't have a strategy behind that and you don't have a specific goal in mind, it kind of doesn't matter if it does well or not. Like, it's cool to get lots of likes and views, but you can't generate clients with likes. It's not the same thing. Just because you get, 100,000 likes on a video doesn't mean that you're going to get 100,000 clients. And so thinking with the end goal in mind. And sometimes the goal is to get likes. The goal is to get reach or generate more awareness. But sometimes you want people to get interest. You want people to take action and follow your profile, or maybe sign up for your newsletter, or maybe opt into something. So depending on what the goal of the activity that you're wanting to do is going to determine the type of funnel that you use, the type of traffic that you target, and then the hopeful outcome that you're measuring. So let's jump into first why funnels matter. Funnels are, again, a consistent and reliable way to, number one, test marketing concepts, ideas, hooks, offers, and value that you can be seeing what your clients actually want rather than just guessing. And with funnels, you're able to test everything from like the hook, the headline, the offer, down to like the color of the button that you would use on your landing page. Now, some things aren't worth testing for sure, but it is, I think, one of the best ways to get good feedback on what is actually an offer that your clients are going to want and need. Because ultimately, you want to spend more time building things that are going to resonate with your audience, that attract the right types of people. And so the main benefit, in my opinion, of funnels is that they're very trackable, in that you can see if it worked or not. But again, the only way to know if it worked or not is to set a goal first. And even if something doesn't work, there's not any loss in failure because you can still make adjustments and learn from that failure. But the only way to learn from it is to know, did it work or didn't? So that's why setting the right goal is key. So let's break down the types of funnels that we have. There's 3 types of funnels, I think, generally. And you can also make a mix of these 3 here too. We're going to break down each of them with the purpose, the use cases that you'd want to use it for, key elements, and just some insights around each of these. But the first funnel that we have are called transactional funnels. And transactional funnels, the goal is to sell something. It's transactional. So that's starting at the bottom of the funnel. So people are purchasing something from you. We're trying to sell a product or service here. And so we're usually trying to sell them something quickly, whether that's setting an appointment, that would be selling, or if you create an offer that actually has a way for people to check out online, that would be pretty cool too. Most practices don't have e-commerce in place, but it's definitely possible, and I think practices could probably test and try some stuff out, especially with like memberships, loyalty, wellness plans, things like that. I actually think that would be a really good use case for a transactional funnel. But the other types of things that you can do are flash sales. You can do low ticket offers. You can do direct bookings, things like that inside of transactional funnels. So the most important pieces that you have here are you need to have, typically when you're selling something, unless you have native selling built into like TikTok or something, but most practices again don't have that, but maybe it'll be possible someday. You need a landing page where the transaction can take place. And the landing page within each of these funnels needs to be specialized if possible. So if I came to you and you were going to perform surgery and I gave you a pocket knife, like a Swiss Army knife, for example, like, could you do the surgery? You probably could, but would it be a good idea to use a pocket knife? Right? It has like the scissors built into it. It has a bone saw in it. You probably wouldn't want to use it, but you could use it if you had to. That's exactly what funnels are like for marketing. Funnels are specialized tools, so it's not like the Swiss Army knife, which is probably more along the lines of your website, right? Your website's trying to do a lot of different things. It's trying to tell the who, what, when, where, why, and how of your practice, but it's kind of just a catch-all for all of the potential traffic. So it's very broad, which is totally okay as a website. But if you're targeting something special, like let's say a dental procedure, you're trying to do a dental special, then you're going to want to have a landing page specifically for the dental procedures because it's going to be more effective. Will the website work? It probably would, but it's not going to be as effective as a landing page that's specifically about dental procedures. And so I think that's how you kind of need to look at your funnel. It's like a scalpel versus a Swiss Army knife, or it's like the tool that you use to extract teeth. Can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, but there's a specific use for this tool, and we're only trying to achieve hopefully one outcome. So the more specific the tool, the better the chance that the outcome is going to be what we want it to be. With any type of transactional funnel, you want to have a call to action that is going to be clear, concise, and easy. You need to help people understand what their before and their after state looks like, and you need to have a compelling offer. One thing that I think is often overlooked is when people are creating offers, they try to value something at what it actually costs. Like for example, if I had something and it cost me $20 to get this thing, like that's a physical actual cost to produce it. It cost me $20 to produce it. I wouldn't want to sell it for $20 because I went through the effort of putting it together and making it, right? Just like if I was selling something and it was cool, but it was worth exactly the price that I was selling it for, most people wouldn't buy it unless they needed it. An example of that is if I called you up and I said, hey, let's go down and meet. I'm going to give you $20. You're going to give me $20. And then we'll both get $20 out of the situation. Like, no, I'm not going to meet you to give you $20. I'm getting $20. There's no additional value here. That's exactly how buying anything works in the world. Typically, you'll only pay for something if your perceived value exceeds the cost. Otherwise, you're going to hold on to your money. That's why, like when you go to an airport, the bottled water is $6 once you get past the gate versus it's cheaper outside. It's because they know you're a captive audience, and so there's no other choices. You have to buy it so they can raise the price. Kind of outrageous. So it's like similar to that. But in that instance, if you need water and you're thirsty, then the one bottle of water is worth more than the $6 that you gave them. And so you have to think when you're building out offers for your veterinary practice, your value needs to far exceed the price, and so that it's easy for people to say yes rather than to think about it and consider it. If possible, I always like to include upsells within the transactional funnel. So if somebody says, yes, I want this, then they probably are in market for something else too. If you think about it, like I just recently started running this year a lot again. And when you buy running shoes to get running, you need more than just running shoes. You need workout clothes. You need like food and supplements and all kinds of things, right? And so if you have those products available that make sense, that are going to help to provide more value for the person buying something. And an example of that for veterinary medicine would be like, let's say you have a rehab practice and you do physical therapy. And so you're selling an intro offer for the rehab visit. Maybe it's a first free visit or a discounted visit or something like that. But you have a package that you know that if they come and they get more rehab sessions, they're going to get better outcomes. So you bundle that together and then sell it at a buy now discount type of thing. Like that's an upsell example. Another one would be doing, like, for example, upselling a membership or offering people to get a wellness plan when they complete their online booking, for example, or upselling pet insurance or things like that. And then you don't necessarily have to sell pet insurance, but you could do that. So those upsells or downsells are optional, but it's always something interesting to think about and test. If you can add upsells to any of your funnels, you're going to dramatically decrease the cost per acquisition because you're going to make more revenue per customer. That's for sure. At this stage of the funnel, things that we're actively trying to target and look for are like conversion rates. We want to know how many people are buying. What is the conversion rate? So that's the total number of people who have visited divided by the people who have purchased. We're looking at average order values. We're looking at the cost to acquire. So what was the cost per new customer? And so those metrics allow us to make decisions about if it's working or not. They allow us to understand how much we need to be able to earn per customer based on our conversion rates and make adjustments from there. But that's going to vary differently from the lead generation funnel. And I think the lead generation funnel, and by the way, just to go back real quick to the transactional funnel, if you're running Google Ads right now, you are running a transactional funnel. So for example, if we're targeting on the keyword vet near me and we're sending people to your services page, then that is actually a direct transactional funnel. We're trying to generate a conversion, which is a new client coming in the door. So it's not to say that you need individual landing pages or landing page softwares. For example, if somebody's looking for best vet near me, your services page might actually be a great place to send that traffic because it's a general search term. They're looking for general services. They're not looking for something as specific as like TPLO or like ophthalmology care for a specialty case, for example. So understanding the right context for the traffic is important, but it doesn't have to be tremendously complicated, for sure. Usually within the transactional process too, and this is going to be across the board for each of the funnel types. We want to have really good expectation setting, follow up, and then drip process on them to make sure that we can then re-engage them in the future. So lead generation funnels are the next type of funnels. What they are good at is capturing leads so that you can nurture them to become clients. They're not set up for immediate purchase. Lead generation funnels are like setting up specific lead magnets. And a lead magnet is basically a really desirable tool, tip, resource, something that you can deliver that's easy to consume is preferable, that will provide value for your potential client. And your client needs to be in the right demographic, psychographic, or intent pattern to make sure that it's the right person that you're targeting. If you just started giving out free dog food to everybody who walked by, probably not a great strategy, but that would be an effective lead magnet. So we want to make sure and combine, number one, that we're targeting the right group of people in the right area for the right types of services. And so it's going to be a mix of demographic data and then also psychographic data. So things we need to have here, we need to have a lead magnet. And again, that can be things like ebooks, webinars, quizzes, checklists. Those are some of my favorite things. Resource lists, tools, something that has utility and it actually provides a lot of value. The opt-in forms here on this page, you want to collect as little information as possible because that's going to help to increase your conversion rate. It has to make sense though. If you're just collecting emails only, but you want to know their names, like get their names and things. But every time you add an additional field that needs to be filled out here, you're going to reduce your conversion rate just because it makes it more difficult to opt in. Not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you want to put a little friction into the funnel so that it gives you higher quality leads, but definitely want to create as frictionless of a funnel as possible. With nurtures and with lead generation funnels, you definitely want to have a thank you page set up and then also a nurture sequence that goes out to these people, because it's all about being consistent, delivering on the promises that you made, and helping them to follow that customer journey that you've really set out, and break down all of the component pieces that make your macro conversion into micro conversions. So if we want to get somebody in the door as a new client, what are all the tiny steps that need to happen, and how can we engineer that in a way that's going to convey your brand value, how you want your clients to feel, and really set up expectations for what it would be like to be an actual client. At this stage of the funnel, things that we watch here, there's cost per lead, how many leads come into actual appointments, how many leads come into actual clients, what the lifetime value is of the leads here. It takes a little bit longer anytime we move up the funnel to measure metrics that are going to have a direct impact on ROI, because it takes longer to convert them. Lead generation funnels are fantastic at doing the heavy lifting of specifically getting people to make more difficult decisions, because people, again, like to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so when it comes to, like, for example, let's use TPLO as an example, that's a bigger purchase decision for most of your clients, and they want to feel comfortable that they're going to the right place, that they have the right treatment plan in place, that they're going to have a high chance for success, and that they're not wasting money. Because again, it's a bigger thing. It's just like if you're buying a car, you're not going to walk into the first place that you show up at and just pick any of the cars, right? You're going to probably do research on a few different models. You're going to check out what financing looks like, what leasing looks like, and make a decision based on that. So that's what your funnel is going to do. It's going to help them to get to the end outcome that you're looking for. And again, the biggest way to do that is to provide value and answer their specific questions. So let's just real quick come up with a lead generation funnel idea that's around TPLO. So let's say you want to make the ultimate TPLO resource for pet owners, and you're going to do it on video. Maybe what you'd say is, considering TPLO, don't do anything until you check out this free ultimate TPLO pet owners resource guide, right? And then it's possibly videos that go through your most common questions, talks about the pros, the cons, the pricing, what people typically can expect to pay if they go to a general practice versus a surgeon. Why should they use a special surgeon versus somebody that just has more training? Things like that you could really dive into and help them to make that decision. But we always want to lead with value, and we want to make sure that it is giving people the right expectation of what they could actually expect in your practice. And I really think that this could have a huge impact on practices, because most practices don't do any lead gen funnels, or if they do, they will set up a campaign, generate leads, and then never follow up with them again. So it's the consistency after the fact that really helps to turn lead gen funnels into actual clients. The thing that I think this really works for well is if you're good at social, or if you're good at content, you're good at SEO, if you have these types of traffic channels that you can target where people are not necessarily looking with buying intent, but they're just definitely the right demographic of people. If you can take that traffic and apply it to this funnel, you're going to be able to generate lots of new clients over time, and it's going to help you to consistently have like a backup of new clients coming in the door. But I think if you are good at social and you're getting consistent engagement, but that's not turning into new clients, the way to turn that engagement into clients is to develop relevant lead magnet offers that's going to appeal to the different segments of traffic that you have. So let's say you're creating content that, like, for example, pug owners are engaging with often. And so maybe you'll create a lead magnet specific to pug owners and then reference that in the content. The way that I suggest putting this together is having a spreadsheet that's called a content silo. And with that content silo, you can have all of the pieces of content or the content buckets that you want to be creating content around, and then have relevant offers to link so that you don't have to go out and pull from the different things. You can include that in your descriptions of your videos, put that in your profile links, and then you have a call out and a call to action that's going to be relevant to the people that are engaging with the content. So I think implementing a lead gen funnel for a practice is going to be really, really helpful if you're getting significant social engagement, but that's not turning into new clients. And I would say too, real quick here, that running that alongside successful content rather than in place of successful content is going to help you to get more leads. What I mean by that is, instead of turning your content about something that is lead gen, you create content that would do well and then tie in the lead gen to it. So instead of, like, let's say you made the ultimate TPLO course, chances are if you just post that straight to like Instagram, it's not going to do well. But if you have a reel that's about TPLO and then you just reference that in the content that does well, it's going to get more conversions for you. The last type of funnel that I think we should talk about is going to be a relational funnel or a content funnel. And the purpose of this funnel is to really build an audience that helps to build trust over time. You can use this for building your social channels, building your newsletter email lists, engaging with your current clients on your channels and your emails. With this, we're doing some type of very general offer, and that would be something along the line of get our newsletter each month, sign up for updates, learn about local events, things like that. You're going to want to test variations of this. I think people looking for updates on local events, important health news, so things that are timely, things that are also specific to the area that you're in, and provides value on an ongoing basis, so that it's easy for people to sign up, it's low stakes, and then they're going to receive some value. Usually people also really convert well if they feel like they're missing out. So if you say, we'll send you our promotions, and basically try to make them feel like if they don't join it, they're going to miss out on something, that's a good call to action for these relational type funnels. The thing that I like to do with these is really set expectations and deliver value as quickly as possible, especially in the higher up the funnel you go. You need to be very, very consistent with driving value every single time you send an email. And so when I say higher up the funnel, I mean, if people are signing up for a relational type funnel or a lead gen funnel, they need to really be led through that customer journey rather than just having them sign up and then receiving nothing. When people pay for something, the expectation is they're going to come in for that service, and then that can be the logical next step. But having somebody that's just on a newsletter and taking that person and converting it into a client, it takes a lot more work and a lot more consistency. And people will be on your list for years and you'll never hear from them. And then just out of the blue, one day they'll reach out to you. So consistency pays off, and it seems that it compounds too. With the relational type newsletters, it has to be a consistent pace. And the way that I like to really frame that with the clients that use this is that we set up what's called an indoctrination sequence. And usually that's like a 3 to 5 email or text sequence that goes out and sets expectations about, here's all that we're going to give to you. Here's the promise. We're not going to abuse the permission that you've given us. We're going to give you value and deliver on that basic promise there. So the thing that I like to do too a lot is provide backstory and context for why you got started, what you stand for, what you stand against, and then have a mission of sorts that you're able to work through and try to get more people on your team, basically. But you don't want to be bland or corporate. You want it to be a lot more personal. so that you can get people who feel like you're an actual human. They're getting to know you, and it's helpful for basically bonding them and indoctrinating them into the way that you think. So whether it's, you want to make sure that you're providing a certain standard of care, or that you're really into fear free, or whatever it is that you are really for in your practice, I think that's really, really important. At this stage of the funnel, things that we look at are open rates, subscriber rates, click-through rates, and I'm sorry, when I say subscriber rates, I mean subscriber growth rates, and then unsubscribe rates. And it's important to look at those on a pretty regular basis just to see how you're doing, set benchmarks, and understand if what you're sending out is working or not. But again, it's all about consistency, and it's all about value. So you can take any of these funnels, and then you can also do a hybrid of multiple of these funnels too. And so you can do a lead gen funnel that then turns into a transactional funnel. And that's actually a really good way to, specifically if you're doing lead gen, test out new transactional funnels where you have different segmentation of your lists. So, let's say you create the ultimate TPLO guide, then create your ultimate TPLO offer, and then do your spring TPLO offer and your fall TPLO offer. And those are individual transactional funnels that you can stack behind the lead gen funnels. So you can use all of these things, but the ultimate goal is to drive people down into the bottom of the funnel, but not just anybody. You're looking for your ideal clients. So mixing those elements and stacking on top of each other are really helpful. But every time you build this, you're building an asset that will be able to work for you. And funnels are really not rigid. They're very flexible. It can be, again, as easy as targeting traffic from Google Ads and sending it to your services page. But the more specific that you get, the higher the conversion is going to be, obviously, like I mentioned. So things that you need to have in place to run, I think, any of these types of funnels is, number one, you need to have some type of a follow-up system in place. And a lot of times practices will ask me, should we use our PIMs? What should we use? My favorite by far is Go Ahead Level, but MailChimp works, HubSpot works, ActiveCampaign works. You can use basically any of them. You just need to make sure that you know how to use your CRM and email marketing tool, and you know how to set up automations in them. So that's ultimately most important. All of those tools have measurement tools inside of them, but that you have to have some type of way to engage and talk to your clients. That's not through your PIMs. And the only reason why I say that is because the PIMS software doesn't give you segmentation, and it is usually tough to use, and so you don't end up using it. The other thing that you're going to need for each of these is a really good hook and an offer. And so whenever possible, test out hooks, and when something works, make sure you write it down and keep it in a place that you can reference it at. So a shared Google Drive folder, or like a Notion, or like a Slack channel, just wherever you can keep a list of the hooks and offers that work really, really well. Because if you have hooks that win, you shouldn't reinvent the wheel. Just do slight variations of that hook. But when something wins, it wins big usually, and it's something you really want to hang on to. Another thing that you need are, typically for most of your funnels, are going to be landing pages. So having either a web development company or landing page software, a lot of the email marketing tools out there help you to build landing pages. But with this, we want a single goal, we want clarity, and we want to reference a very specific offer. Every funnel is going to need a specific conversion mechanism. And whenever we're trying to figure out what is the goal of this page, we really want to make it as easy as possible for your clients to complete a conversion. So is that a phone call? Is that an online booking? Is it filling out a form? Is it following a social channel? What is it, and how can we make it as easy as possible with as few clicks as possible? And then ultimately we need measurement. So we have to make sure that we are measuring everything that we do to know if it's working or if it's not, and then how can we test it and improve it, because there's always room for improvement no matter what we're doing. So all of that being said, how can we choose the right funnel? So the first question here is always, what is my primary goal? we looking for sales today or new clients today? Are we looking for leads for tomorrow? Or are we looking for long-term relationship? Because that's going to map with each of those funnel types. You should definitely be matching the traffic type with the funnel too. So, for example, if you just have your TPLO resource that you created in that funnel, that's the lead generation funnel, and you post it on social, it's probably not going to do great just because most people don't need it and don't want it. But if you put that same lead gen funnel in front of traffic that's informational, that people are searching on Google, what are my options when it comes to TPLO? That would be the perfect funnel and offer. So make sure that we're either targeting the right intent, the right demographics, or the right psychographics, or a mix of all three of those things. Lead gen funnels can definitely be targeted at demographics. So you could create like the old, let's say a dog owner's activity guide for your city. That would be a great lead magnet because it's a useful resource. A lot of your social following would be interested in that, so it would make sense to create content around that and post it there. But if you're targeting Vet Near Me and you're showing that activity guide, people don't want Vet Near Me. I mean, people who are searching Vet Near Me don't want an activity guide, they want a veterinarian, so it doesn't match the right traffic. Really, you don't have to overcomplicate this. I think if you map out and say, okay, here is the end goal that we have, and then let's walk back. What's the very step right before this that they have to take to get to this point? So, okay, they have to call and make an appointment. Okay, how do they call and make an appointment? They visit the landing page. Okay, they visit the landing page. How are they getting at the landing page? They are clicking from Facebook. Okay, how come they're clicking from Facebook? They saw this reel that we made. Okay, so we have to make this reel, and then you can troubleshoot from that point, because if you have any breakage along this chain of events, you can say, okay, the reel that we posted didn't get any views or engagement. The problem is we didn't get enough traffic. Or if we did get traffic and we got people to the landing page, they didn't convert, maybe it was the wrong target market, right? We can break this down and figure out what to fix. And that's one other thing that I like a lot. It's not complicated in that you can really figure out what do you want this person to do next and what's the best way for them to get there. So I don't want this to be just something that you listen to and then never use. So let's run an exercise really quick. Here are 4 things that I want you to do. I want you to actually pick out a funnel type that's going to match a goal for your business. So what do you want right now? Do you want new clients? Do you want more leads for your business, like more people that are interested in a certain service? Or do you want more people that are becoming aware of your practice? If you're completely empty and you need appointments, start with new clients. If you're just looking for more consistency in your schedule, go for a middle of the funnel, like a lead gen. If you're pretty established and booked out right now, then start building that relational email list so that if things do slow down, you can then go and tap into that customer base that's already ready to go and engaged with you. So choose the right funnel type for your business and then map out the steps. Just write it down on a piece of paper. Where's the traffic going to be? What is the landing page going to be? What is the conversion going to be? And what is the follow-up going to be? And for each of those, say, okay, we are going to send traffic to a page on our website. Okay, we need to have our website company make a page. And it's going to be about this topic. We want it to write it here. You can use my custom GPT that I built. That's called Vet Marketing Guru if you'd like help, like designing landing page copy and things like that. But understand what's the landing page going to look like, and then what is the best conversion action to map to the goal of the funnel that we've picked. Once you do that, you're going to launch the funnel and test it out. So you have to build it out, launch it, and then as you launch it, you have to review what's taking place. So is it working? Is it meeting the goals that you set out? If yes, great. If no, okay, great. What can we fix? And go again, figure out where that breakage is happening, on what step, and go to that step and fix it. Even if it's working well, you want to identify one metric to improve. So don't try to optimize everything at once, but just one specific metric. We're going to try to decrease the cost per click. for traffic, get cheaper traffic, which would mean cheaper acquisition? Are we going to try to increase the conversion rate on the landing page? Increasing conversion reduces the cost per acquisition. Are we going to try to improve the upsell that we offer? Are we going to try to stack the funnels on top of each other to generate more conversions? What is it that we're going to do? And once we go through that, we are able to continually improve it. So then it's always hypothesis, test, measure every single time. So figure out, what are we going to test this week? What's our hypothesis? Okay, if we change this headline to this pain point, I think this is going to happen. Okay, great. Let's test it. We run it, we test it, measure, and then we reflect on it. That's what you do to improve your marketing. So I hope that this was helpful. And if you have any questions or you need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. But be sure to subscribe on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts.